Now you may be thinking this is the last episode of season 3 for Pokemon, so they obviously want to end the season finale on a big high, right? Maybe a new antagonist appears, maybe Ash gets a big win or something, and to the people that are wondering that, I've just got to ask you, have you even seen Pokemon before? Of course it's going to be filler. We begin today's episode with Misty overhearing a bunch of kids looking at a Pokemon fortune-telling book. According to one girl, you just look up your birthday and it'll tell you what Pokemon type you are. Another girl says the book reckons she's a Squirtle type. Mate, Squirtle's a Pokemon, not a type. You know, water's a type, but not Squirtle itself, you numpty. This is like that old thing on Google where it said that Palkia's type weaknesses were Fairy and Salamence. Also, how the hell would anyone even know that this is a Pokemon fortune-telling book just by looking at it? It don't even say fortune telling on the cover. When Misty asks the kids if she can take a look, the girl with black hair says,
"I'm sorry, but I'm not supposed to give it to anybody."
I mean, I hate to break it to you, love, but your mate there is clearly holding the book. So you say you're not supposed to give it to anybody, but you have done. According to this old couple who are selling the books at their Pokemon daycare, which already sounds a bit suspicious if you ask me, it's a daycare, not a bookstore. If someone is a Nidoqueen type and also owns a Nidoqueen, they'll have good luck and so on. Now, obviously we know how this episode turns out, but even if that wasn't the case, this still sounds like some horoscope BS you'd have to be an absolute moron to actually believe. Direct quote from this kid who's just found out he's a Seadra type.
"I wonder how I'm gonna find somebody who wants to trade a Seadra for my Golbat."
And I know what you're thinking. Liam, how is that a WTF moment? Think about it. It's a character in Pokemon realizing that trading a potential Kingdra for a potential Crobat is the kind of trade that nobody in their right mind would ever make. Pokemon characters are never this self-aware, so this is a WTF moment. Upon hearing that the book apparently talks about love and romance, Brock begs Ash to get the book. But wait, why can't Brock just get it himself? Do Brock and Misty really let Ash Ketchum of all people be responsible for all of their collective money? Mate, that is brave. Or maybe just incredibly stupid. Misty checks the book for Ash's birthday first and discovers that Ash is a Bellsprout type. I mean, it's half right. He's a bell end. And apparently Brock is an Onyx type. I mean, he definitely is a massive penis, that's for sure. And while we're on the topic of massive penis, let's thank some people who radiate big dick energy, and those are our wonderful Ace Trainer Ultra XL members, who are Bro Metapod, Purple Dragonair, Andros LaFay, Sin City Yeti, Gear Overlord, TJ the Nerd, JWatt8554, Night Angel, Blue Thunder 2021, Lucas Gates, and Kingly Gamer YT. Thank you to all you lovely people for the massive support you give this channel. Brock says that if he's an Onyx type and he owns an Onyx, he must be pretty lucky. And maybe he's about to meet a very lucky girl. Thing is though, lad, you've had this Onyx for ages. Like, for as long as we've known you, you've owned this Onyx. So how come you've never been lucky before? Misty finds out that she's a Gyarados type and is visibly very angry about it. Why though? Gyarados is amazing. Like, it's easily in my top 10 favorite Pokemon.
Well, actually, Liam, speaking of, when are you going to do more top 10 Pokemon videos? I miss those.
You mean, when am I going to make more of the videos that people always ask for but never end up watching? Well, if you want my honest answer, probably at some point down the line, because it's always nice to throw things at the wall and see what sticks. Honestly, it's so weird hearing Misty rage about how disgusted she is that the book said she was a Gyarados type, and saying that out of all the water types, Gyarados is the least like her, when we all know that further down the line, she ends up with such a strong bond with a Gyarados that she can Mega Evolve it. When Team Rocket turn up dressed as astronauts, or the Apollo 11 look as James calls it, Jessie says that since they're from Team Rocket, they thought it'd be nice if they dressed the part. But mate, you're not dressed the part. Team Rocket wear white or black clothes with big R's on the chest. Like, there's a reason James called it the Apollo 11 look. It's because anyone looking at you would think you were astronauts, not members of Team Rocket. Team Rocket send out mini Meowth balloons, and honestly, in a world where we have all manner of flying remote control toys, from simple helicopters to planes to even camera mounted drones, why the hell have Pokemon never released remote control mini Meowth balloons? I'd pay out the arse for one of those. Granted, I'd probably play for it for about 2 minutes before either getting bored or getting it stuck in a tree, but that's not the point. After Jessie discovers the Pokemon fortune-telling book that had been picked up by Meowth, she says she had been meaning to shoplift one, which instantly reminded me of this woman.
Yeah, I'm a shoplifter. You're a shoplifter.
And a frauder.
Jessie refuses to look up what Pokemon type Meowth would be because Meowth is already a Pokemon. So, surely he still has a birthday? Don't be an arse, mate. As it turns out, James is a Moltres type, which can mean only one thing. Oh my god, it's that episode. After a couple of lucky coincidences convince James that he is indeed a flaming Moltres type, he begins concocting a master plan for world domination, which he proceeds to shout from the top of a lamppost, which he climbs incredibly quickly, mind you, at some points without even touching it. Now, he may not be an actual Moltres, but that's still pretty impressive. To nobody's surprise, the old couple at the daycare were actually Butch and Cassidy in disguise, because of course they were.
I mean, who else in the Pokemon world would have this voice?
Oh, Butch, you're killing me. T for the vocal cords. Christ. My favourite part of James mispronouncing Butcher's name as Botch is that technically that in itself is botching Butcher's name. It's almost poetic. James breaks the ropes that he, Jessie and Meowth are tied up with nothing more than his own brute strength. Apparently, James is now hench. Pass it on. Non-anime-eyed Misty is a cursed image. Non-anime-eyed Misty will appear at the end of your bed tonight and eat your pets in front of you. And the only way to stop her is to use code ACE for money off G Fuel! Today I'm drinking the absolutely lovely Isaac's Tears G Fuel. It's the Binding of Isaac branded G Fuel. It has a cute little Isaac face on there, and the tears actually match the color of whatever drink is in the container, which is really, really cool. This flavor is white cherry and pineapple. It's a beautiful mix. It's absolutely banging. Best of all, you can use code ACE to save yourself 20% off your G Fuel order. Oh, that is absolutely tickety-boo. What an absolutely wonderful flavor. Thanks again, G Fuel. It's another absolute banger. Remember, use code ACE. It helps support this channel. Thank you very, very much. Where would I be without you guys? And it saves you 20% on your order. Remember though, G Fuel is for over 18s only because it contains caffeine, and children don't need to be anywhere near caffeine. Have you met children? They're annoying enough as it is. And because it contains caffeine, drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead.
Dickhead?
Getting back to the episode, a random kid walks up to Misty and offers to trade his Gyarados for her Poliwhirl because he just found out that he's a Poliwhirl type. Firstly, this kid owns a Gyarados? What's the story behind that? But more importantly, would you look at that? It turns out they did put me in the Pokemon anime after all, because if I was a Pokemon type, that type would absolutely be my boy. Meanwhile, as it turns out, Brock is chatting up Nurse Joy by telling her how much of a bitch he thinks Misty is. Mate, what an arsehole. Listen, if any of you lot ever have a mate that will willingly belittle or berate you just to impress someone they fancy, drop that mate like a bad habit. So as it turns out, Brock is a terrible friend and a massive wanker. Pass it on. When Ash and friends finally confront Cassidy and Butch, Misty expresses just how upset she was that the book said she was a Gyarados, and completely ignores anything else they're doing. So, in Misty's eyes, plagiarizing a book, tricking kids into buying said book, and also convincing people to leave their Pokemon with you under the guise that you're gonna find a trading partner for them, but in actual fact you're just gonna steal them, is fine. But don't you dare say she's a Gyarados. Now, I know Totodile is just a base form starter, but man, its bite attack looks absolutely brutal here. Hang on a minute. Butcher's Primeape lands a dynamic punch on Misty's Staryu on the first try. Now I get it, it is supposed to hit 50% of the time, but even so, Butch is definitely hacking. James turns up dressed as a Moltres. Is that where these three have been all this time, looking for a Moltres suit for him? Like guys, I know the importance of making an entrance, but sort your priorities out. I guess we can't be too mad though, because James does look absolutely fabulous. Here's a direct quote from Jessie after Meowth asks where James got his costume.
I think that costume came right out of his closet.
Excuse me? Out of his closet? Now then, did Jessie mean closet, or did she mean closet? I'll let you guys decide that one. Now, I know it's not a WTF moment, but I just have to say, this right here, this whole situation is absolutely James's finest hour. This is James in his element, and a blatant reminder that James is indeed the best character in the entire show. Just as his victory bell is about to chomp down on his head, James simply hoofs it in the face. All right there, Ronaldo, calm down. I don't care if you're in a flamboyant chicken suit, you can't go around kicking your pets in the face. Cassidy and Butch then reveal that their Pokemon fortune-telling book is fake, crushing James's confidence in the process. Mate, I know they're the bad guys, but why they gotta do James dirty like that? Seriously, this realization right here from James is one of the saddest moments in the entire anime. Poor James. Jesse actually lets Wobbuffet battle for a change, and it absolutely destroys Cassidy's Raticate with counter. Bloody hell, finally, girl. It's about time she started recognizing how OP Wobbuffet is. As Team Rocket gets sent blasting off by their crane exploding, I can't help but wonder, where did Victory Bell go? It was with them as they hit the crane before it exploded, and I didn't hear James return it to its Pokeball, so where is it? Did it just fly off in a different direction to the rest of the team? Answers on a postcard. After Butch and Cassidy turn their attention to Misty, she gets ready to show them just how nasty she can be. So of course, she sends out my boy, who proceeds to double slap 7 shades of shite out of Cassidy's Raticate. See, this is why Misty should always start with Poliwhirl. I will say one thing though. Misty tells Poliwhirl to use full force water gun attack, and whilst the attack does hit Cassidy and Butch, it barely does anything. Like, it doesn't even knock them off their feet. Come on, Pokemon, don't make my boy out to be weak when you've just been showcasing how badass he can be. Put some more respect on Poliwhirl, lads. Misty tells Butch and Cassidy that it's their bad luck day any day they mess with her, which is the most contrived attempt at a put down I think I've ever heard. After she says this though, Ash tells Misty,
That sounds like Gyarados' Dragon Rage.
Ash mate, what are you talking about? When have you ever heard a Gyarados speak? Here's a direct quote from Ash after Officer Jenny lets Misty look at the real Pokemon fortune-telling book.
I guess this fortune-telling thing's a real girl thing, huh, Brock?
Ash Ketchum, don't be so ignorant. You should know from personal experience. Morons come in any gender. Oh, so even though Misty and Brock are looking at the book, Pokemon aren't going to tell us what Misty and Brock's real Pokemon types were in the end? I mean, I know they're pointless, but now so is the entire episode. And they even have the audacity to have James look up his real type, recoil in horror, and still not tell us what it actually is. Like, I know I don't care about all this fortune-telly, horoscopy bollocks, but this is the season 3 finale. And while I do appreciate Pokemon trying to end the episode on a cliffhanger, is this really the cliffhanger you want to end it on? What horoscopy Pokemon type James is? Wow, lads, I'm on the edge of my goddamn seat. So those are my WTF moments of Pokemon Season 3, Episode 41, The Fortune Hunters. Let me know your favorites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and become a member. Use code ACE for 20% off G Fuel, and most importantly, come to my live stream that's live right now. Me and Sophie are playing both Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet side by side. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.